There are many discussions on YouTube out there about which budget optimization works the best on Facebook. Is it ad set budget optimization, aka ABO, or campaign budget optimization, aka CBO? Now, what I prefer is ABO for testing creatives. Notice what I said, creatives and not audiences. However, there is a correct way to optimize these ad set budget optimization campaigns, and there is a wrong way. It's really important to be cautious with that, because otherwise you might leave quite some money on the table. So without any more introductions, let's dive into this topic right away. So, how to optimize your Facebook ads ABO campaigns? First, let's answer this question. How many ad sets should you have inside that ABO campaign? And this totally depends on your budget. So if you have a much higher budget, that pretty much means that you will be able to run multiple ad sets where you could test more creatives. Now, in terms of the budget that you allocate for each ad set, this depends on your price points. If you're selling something more expensive, if you have high ticket products, in that case, you definitely want to make sure that you are allocating enough budget for that ad set. Otherwise, it's going to take quite a long time until you assess the results of each ad creative. Usually, if the average order value of a store is, let's say, between $50 to $200, I think a budget of $20, $30, $40, and sometimes $50 is enough for testing. If, again, you're selling something more expensive in terms of thousands and thousands of dollars, then you should consider increasing those budgets to up to $100 per day. Because it's important also to buy some speed if you want to assess the results faster and optimize and scale more aggressively. Now, moving forward, the next question that we need to answer is how many ad creatives. So we've tackled how many ad sets you need to have. Now let's talk about how many ad creatives. And usually the sweet spot that I notice is free ad creatives. If you are running less than 3 ad creatives, I noticed that the budget is not distributed efficiently. And if you are running on the other side more ad creatives, more than 3, 4, 5, then in that case the budget distribution is going to be allocated in such a way that the other ad creatives will be kind of ghosted, and it's going to take a lot of time, like in terms of weeks and months, until they spend enough so you could assess the results. So that's why when I set free ad creatives, I can measure the performance of each ad much faster, and I can optimize and scale them also much faster. Now, the next thing that we need to tackle, and this is also from the organized side, is quite important, and this is how to structure your batches of ads. So in the beginning of this video, I said that we are testing more ad creatives instead of audiences in this ABO testing campaign. The reason behind that is because with the algorithms that are getting smarter and smarter, and by looking at the latest updates from Facebook and Instagram, we can literally see how they are removing more and more interest that simply tell us that, hey, we want you as an advertiser to focus on testing more ad creatives, and we will handle the audiences. And you have to understand that targeting actually happens on the ad level, not so much on the ad set level. Now, of course, back then you needed to be quite specific. You had to narrow down your audiences. You had to test multiple lookalikes, 1%, 2%. Now that's not the case. So in the beginning, if you've never run any ads, you might test some interest and some broad audiences. But then the moment when you found out one audience, stick just to that audience and simply duplicate those ad sets, and you are launching new ad creatives inside each ad. And this is how I name each batch of ads. So pretty much the proven interest or the broad audience, depending on what's working the best for your ad account. Then I put the set, which is going from 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And then the angle that we are using for that ad set. So you could see here a few angles that we have: simplicity, gift angle, pain point angle, and goal. So inside each ad set, we are using the same angle. Now, the creatives, the copy might be different, but we are keeping the same angle for that ad set. And in that way, it's very easy for you as an advertiser or as an e-commerce owner to come back to your ads manager and understand which angle is working the best. Because we set up an angle for each ad set, now it's very easy for us to assess the results. And if you remember, I said that for each ad set, we're gonna have free ad creatives. When you're having more than 3, then we'll duplicate that ad set and we will have other new ad creatives in that like second set. So like you see here, we have 2 sets for simplicity angle. That simply means that we have here 6 ad creatives, because like I said, we do not want to have more than 3 ad creatives inside each ad set. Now moving forward, this is something that most business owners and most advertisers struggling with, and they have concerns about. And this is how to scale, turn off and launch new ad creatives when it comes to this ABO testing campaign. So let's say that we've launched 3 ad creatives. Now, to turn off, to launch new ad creatives and to scale, you have to know your numbers. So I'm talking about cost per acquisition, what is your cost to acquire that customer? What is your break-even return on investment? Because if you don't know these numbers, you are blindly optimizing these ads and you might throw away a lot of money. So after a couple of days, after those ads have been active and they have spent, now it's time for us to optimize. When, for example, in this case, for this ad account, I know that on average, the cost to acquire that customer is like around 30 to 40 euros. So the moment when you optimize, you look first of all at the amount spent and the purchases that it has got. These 2 ads have spent almost 60 euros, but it has not generated any sales, and I turned them off. The reason behind that is because when an ad has spent 2x of your cost per acquisition, sometimes 1x, depending on your price points, depending on how conservative you are, you can turn those ad creatives off. And the moment when you turn those ad creatives off, you want to launch new ads inside that ad set. And that's exactly what I did. So after turning these 2 ad creatives off, I launched 2 new ads in this ad set. But you have to remember, I said that inside each ad set, we are using the same angle. So the ad creatives that I'm launching, I will make sure that they fit within the same angle that we are using for this ad set. Now, when it comes to scaling up the budget for that ad set, because we could literally take that ad creative and paste it in the CBO campaign, where this is kind of our main campaign and we are optimizing and we are scaling via the budget and we're spending much more money, but we also can scale the ad set itself. So what we are doing is, first of all, we look at the overall return on ad spend of that ad set when it comes to the scaling. Now, when it comes to optimizing, we are looking at the return on ad spend of each individual ad creative. But when it comes to the scaling, we look at the overall return on ad spend of that ad set. So when it is higher than the break-even of your return on ad spend, let's say that your break-even is 2x and your overall return on ad spend is much higher than 2x. In this case, it's 2.9. In that case, I will go ahead and I will scale the budget by 20%. Sometimes I might increase it more than 20%, especially in the beginning if you're spending $20 per day. In that case, definitely you want to increase a little bit much higher than 20%, because otherwise it's going to take quite some time. We've covered a lot of things about the technical aspect on this video, but we do not want to forget about what is driving the most results, because at the end of the day, you as a business owner want to focus and work on the things that are bringing the most amount of sales. And I am talking about ad creatives. Now, to have a compelling ad creative, first we have to start with a grabbing attention hook, which I talk more in depth in this video over here. Click on it and I will talk to you soon.